Let me be clear about two other points. First, it's simply not true that my administration or policies are holding back domestic energy production. That's simply not true. Even amid the pandemic, companies in the United States pumped more oil during my first year in office than they did during my predecessor's first year. We're approaching a record levels of oil and gas production in the United States, and we're on track to set a record of oil production next year.
He was very clear in saying, making the same misstatements that Jen Psaki did, saying that we have the highest oil production ever right now. Anybody can look it up on the website. EIA, it's the official energy statistics. In December 2019, we were producing 12.9 million barrels of oil a day. In December 2021, we were producing 11.5 million barrels a day. It's a 1.5 million barrel per day drop since December 2019 at the end of the Trump administration. The fact is we are not producing as much oil as we could, and we could ramp up our oil production to easily replace what we're not getting from Russia.
High per gallon. How high would they have to get before President Biden would say, I'm going to set aside my ambitious climate goals and just increase domestic oil production, get the producers to drill more here, and we can address the fossil fuel future later?
Well, again, Peter, the U.S. produced more oil this past year than in President Trump's first year. Now,
in the United States, 90% of onshore oil production takes place on land that isn't owned by the federal government. And of the remaining 10% that occurs on federal land, the oil and gas industry has millions of acres leased. They have 9,000 permits to drill now. They could be drilling right now, yesterday, last week, last year. They have 9,000 to drill onshore that are already approved. So let me be clear. Let me be clear. They are not using them for production now. That's their decision. These are the facts. We should be honest about the facts.
That accusation is a complete red herring, and it's really a distraction from the fact that this administration has paused leasing on federal lands. The fact is that industry is producing at a higher level on existing leases on federal lands than in the last 20 years. And these leases take many years to explore, to develop, and to produce on.
This represents a fundamental misunderstanding as to how this process works. Once you lease land, there's a whole process that you have to go through. First, you have to actually discover whether actually there is oil and gas in that land. Second of all, you have to get a permit to actually develop that land. Right now, we actually are developing more leases than we have in 2 decades. So the White House certainly doesn't have their facts straight on this. What they should be focused on is how do we develop more of our resources here in the United States rather than depending on foreign countries for American oil and natural gas.
than ever before. Those are the facts in terms of oil production. And again, right now there are 9,000 unused approved permits to drill onshore. So I think you're misidentifying what the actual issue is.
Yeah, it's not truthful, right? And it's not truthful at all. From day one, this administration has been hell-bent with their anti-American energy holy war to shut down the production of American energy. She knows that, right? It's delaying leases. Look, you can get a lease and then they delay the permits for you to be able to do seismic and do work on it. In Alaska, they delay the ability to get a permit for an ice road, which is how we go and do exploration on these leases. They've shut that down. They've tried to kill pipelines. Day one, you saw Biden said he wasn't going to produce on energy on ANWR, even though it's in the law that he has to do it, says shall. And then you guys you have people like John Kerry and Gina McCarthy going around to the American financial community saying don't invest in American energy. So day one, they have been focused on killing the production of American energy.
In other countries to think about maybe pumping more oil, why not just do it here?
Well, to be very clear, federal policies are not limiting the supplies of oil and gas. Let me finish. Let me finish.
An executive order his
Peter,
first week that halted new oil and gas.
Let me give you the facts here, and I know that can be inconvenient, but I think they're important in this moment. To the contrary, we have been clear that in the short term, supply must keep up with the demand. We are, and here and around the world, will we make the shift to a secure, clean energy future.
The Earth is exploding. explored, and some permits are viable and some are not. But right now, the moratorium on leasing certainly just adds an additional block to American energy production. And so that is the opposite of what we need to be doing right now. We need energy infrastructure development. We need to stop the rhetoric that's anti-fossil fuel. And we need some clarity kind of in the regulatory sense that this administration is behind domestic production of energy.
Now I'm off to Texas. Thank you very, very much. I know there's a lot of questions. I know there's a lot of questions, but there's a lot more that has to be made clear, and I'm going to hold on that until we get more information. Thank you. Appreciate it. This crisis is a stark reminder. To protect our economy over the long term, we need to become energy independent. I've had numerous conversations over the last 3 months with our European friends of how they have to wean themselves off of Russian oil. It's just not tenable. It should motivate us to accelerate the transition to clean energy. Loosening environmental regulations or pulling back clean energy investment will not lower energy prices for families. But transforming our economy to run on electric vehicles powered by clean energy with tax credits to help American families winterize their homes and use less energy, that will help.
Clean transportation can bring significant cost savings for the American people as well. Last month, we announced a $5 billion investment to build out a nationwide electric vehicle charging network so that people from rural to suburban to urban communities can all benefit from the gas savings of driving an EV.
But there will be cost as well here in the United States. I said I would level with the American people from the beginning. And when I first spoke to this, I said defending freedom is going to cost. It's going to cost us as well in the United States. The price of the gas at the pump in America went up 75 cents. And with this action, it's going to go up further. I'm going to do everything I can to minimize Putin's price hike here at home. Thus far, we've provided more than $1 billion in security assistance to Ukraine. I've made it clear that the United States will share in the responsibility of caring for the refugees so the costs do not fall entirely on the European country. And I call on Congress to pass the $12 billion Ukraine assistance package that I have asked them for of late.